YouTube, how's it going? Frogs Angels is back after an excellent draft weekend. It was fun, but now, I had to do it. I had to get on the 2019 mock draft. Very interesting to see a year away who the top talented guys. There's a long way to go, though. Things will change, but we want to see the quarterback class mainly. I actually think, now that I look at it, better than we once thought. Maybe not as good as this year, but better than we once thought. A lot of guys we still need to see more of. The D-line class, as everyone should know, it's ridiculous. It might be the best D-line class we've ever seen. Receivers pretty solid. Offensive line pretty solid. Running backs, no elite guy, but there's some guys that I think are pretty good. Looking at the defensive backs, defensive back might be a weaker class this upcoming year. We have to wait and see. But before I get into it, I want to mention that I used the 2018 draft order, but obviously the right teams get their first round pick. That didn't have one this past year, so this video isn't about predicting where everybody will finish. I didn't want to get bashed for that. That's a future video. We're going to get through the draft stuff, more draft talk coming, recapping the 2018 draft, analyzing every team by every pick, see who won the draft. We're going to get onto that next, and then we're going to start going into predictions, and we'll eventually predict how everybody will finish. So we got great things planned for this year leading up to the season, and let's get into this mock, though. First pick, again, used the same order as last year. Browns take Nick Bosa, defensive end, Ohio State. Obviously an elite talent. Right now, is he my number one player in the draft? I don't think he would be right now, but very close. But from what I heard, he's expected to be the number one pick. That sounds ridiculous a year out, but teams expect him to, as of now, to be the number one talent. So the Browns pair him with Myles Garrett. The Giants, if the Giants end up with the second pick this year, they would have to go quarterback. I don't really expect the Giants to, but again, using the same draft order. So I went with Justin Herbert, the quarterback from Oregon. Again, another guy we need to see more of. But at 6'6", got the right mechanics, pretty athletic for his size. Teams are going to fall in love with him. I expect him to be a top pick. So he would be the quarterback of the future for the Giants. And, at one point I said the Giants may have to, in the 2018 draft, to take a quarterback second, because when are they getting another chance to? But this draft's actually looking better. But if they're picking in the bottom part, they may be in trouble. They may have to trade up if they're looking for their quarterback. I know they drafted Lauletta, but obviously not an elite talent, not a first-round talent. They even have you heard Shermer have his concerns, even while picking him, worried about his arm strength, velocity on the ball. So maybe just a solid backup. We will see. Colts, the third pick, maybe the best player in the draft, and Ed Oliver, defensive lineman, Houston, defensive tackle in a 4-3, could step out to 3-4 end in a 3-4 defense. He's very impressive in all aspects of the game. He'd probably be my number one player in the draft as of right now. Number 4 is going to be my favorite defensive back by a long shot here, and Greedy Williams from LSU. Excellent corner. Probably would have been my number one corner in this past draft. I said the defensive back class is weaker. It is, but again, this guy might have been my number one. So the Texans would be picking 4, even though they traded it to the Browns this past year. Get a corner here. The Broncos, if the Broncos are picking 5, most likely they'll need a Case Keenum replacement. I like Drew Lock. I'm a big Drew Lock guy. He really can sling it downfield. He's pretty athletic, pretty accurate. I don't know what there's not to like. That's against SEC defenses he's throwing these balls against, too, throwing for a lot of yards. You see him improve throughout the year. Imagine if Missouri was still in the Big 12. I know it's been a while, but he'd be throwing for how many yards? So he's doing it against SEC defenses. He's very impressive. Got a good attitude, too. I like his attitude. Very confident. So I like Drew Lock a lot. One of my favorite players. And this next guy may be my favorite player, Raekwon Davis from Alabama. This guy's a freak, 6'6", can play the D tackle or the DN spot in a 3-4. He was part of rotation in Alabama, which makes sense. It's not knocking him. There's so much talent in Alabama, as everybody knows. So he's on a rotation. So he gets limited snaps compared to Ed Oliver or other defensive tackles here. And he just shows out against good competition. This guy I expect to get maybe a full-time role. And he can shoot up to maybe the best player in the draft. So maybe the Jets have more of an offensive need, running back or receiver, but they can't pass on him here. Could use an interior guy there. I really like Davis. I would watch out for him this year. 7, the Bucs go Clelin Ferrell, edge rusher from Clemson. Clemson's D-line is absolutely stacked. I think Ferrell might be the best. People like Dexter Lawrence, but Ferrell just brings more of an impact with his pass rush abilities. I remember watching him as a freshman, redshirt freshman, absolutely tearing it up. The Bucs did pretty good reviving that D line, but they got a bunch of guys that you don't know really what you're going to get from them. Injuries, and they're kind of throughout their careers, they're up and down. So by next year, I think they'll be looking for a starter, franchise pass rusher, I should say. So Farrell would be the guy if they're picking 7. The Bears at 8, Rashawn Gary, D lineman, Michigan, another guy that can play inside or a DN in a 3-4. The Bears don't really have, honestly, they don't really have a huge need. They did pretty good, a pretty balanced team. It all relies on the quarterback. So hopefully Trubisky takes the next step up, but they can use another D lineman to help him out in Rashawn Gary from Michigan, a top-tier talent. So at this point, maybe the best player available for them because they don't have a bunch of huge needs. Maybe corner at this point, but I don't think there's a corner worthy of this pick besides Greedy Williams from LSU. But we'll go on to the next 8. Number 9 would be Dexter Lawrence. Some view him as a top player in the draft. The defensive tackle from Clemson. It's hard to split up these Clemson guys. It really is. It's like NC State from this past year. All 4 guys got drafted. I think Clemson's D-line will be a little better, but they won't have a guy as good as Bradley Chubb. Possibly Clelin Ferrell because the impact he makes getting sacks and getting pressure on the quarterback. But it's really hard splitting these guys up. Do they make each other look evenly good? They're very good. They're all very good, but it's hard to tell which will be the top guys. Our Raiders at 10, they'll get a linebacker that can play multiple linebacker spots. Maybe like Tremaine Edmonds. I don't know if his style is exactly like Tremaine Edmonds, but the fact that he can move around, play different linebacker spots. Josh Allen, yes, another Josh Allen's going to be drafted in the first round from Kentucky. Freakish guy. I like him a lot inside the top 10. Dolphins at 11. If they're picking around this area, they'll be needing a quarterback. Shea Patterson, transferring to Michigan, going to get the start this year. Highly recruited to Ole Miss. Here's the thing about him. I think teams are going to be split. I mean, depending on what he does this year, I don't expect him to wow. It's really that Michigan offense. The quarterback's really not going to wow, but I think teams are going to give him a pass because he's been moved around a lot, not really given a great chance. And there's teams out there that look at the recruiting process out of high school and they'll view him as a high quarterback prospect because of that reason. There's some teams that want to see him play at a high level. So they're going to be very split. I think he'll be better than any Michigan quarterback we've seen in the past. That'll be pretty easy. But I don't know if he'll wow. But some teams will give him a pass on that, transferring, moving around, not getting a good shot at a legit quarterback team. So we'll see. He's a very interesting prospect. I think some teams may be higher on him than he maybe should be. On to 12, another team that the Bengals are picking here. They may need a quarterback. I think they'll like Will Grier, quarterback from West Virginia. Similar to Patterson there. Hard to tell if he'll be given the next level. He's throwing for a lot of yards. I like the way he moves in the pocket. Did get hurt and didn't have good production at all at Florida. Is that similar to Michigan? Is that Florida's fault? Or is that how good he was? In West Virginia, the Big 12 teams playing against poor defenses and the offenses, crazy systems that give the quarterbacks a lot of yards. Is it one of those? So I think Greer's pretty athletic and really can sling the ball. But how high will he go? Where do teams value him? Very interesting debate. Once we get closer to the draft, see if he stays healthy. I sure hope he does. 13, the Redskins take DeAndre Baker, corner from Georgia. Pretty solid corner here. Reminds me of a poor man Xavier Rhodes, which may be the top corner in football. Similar to Rhodes, maybe his only weakness is he could be a little grabby, may get called for more flags at the next level. Maybe not as athletic as Rhodes, but very physical, good size corner. Redskins can be looking for a number 1 corner by next year. 14, the Packers pick Joe Jackson, edge rusher from Miami. Still need a pass rusher. The rest of his starting teammates on that D-line from Miami, got drafted this year, and I think he's the better one, the best athlete maybe out of the group and just the better production guy. So he can be a D-end or step back, play outside linebacker possibly. 15, the Cardinals go maybe the top receiver in the draft, and A.J. Brown from Ole Miss. People may think, when was the last time we had a standout receiver at Ole Miss? It was Treadwell. He's not working out too well. There's a big difference, I think, between the two. I did like Treadwell a lot, maybe the better college receiver, but looking at NFL, teams are looking for maybe the speedy guy, maybe the guy that can do more, maybe the guy that can get better separation. I think Brown's got good size. We've seen him play slot and outside. That's the key factor. He got snaps in the slot and outside. So I think he's a different type of receiver than Treadwell, even though he has some good size. I like him at the next level. 16, Ravens got a bunch of receivers now, but I think they got a bunch of average guys. They do not have a guy like Colin Johnson from Texas. 6'6" guy. Now, we talked about teams may not want the possession receivers, the big body receivers anymore. I think this guy being 6'6" is a little different, and he has freak athleticism. So I think the Ravens will like a guy like that. Really just a freakish guy for Joe Flacco or Lamar Jackson, whoever the future guy is there. 17, the Chargers get a linebacker, Anthony Jennings. Another linebacker from Alabama that plays at a high level. I think they can use a linebacker. Hard to tell what they need at this point, though, after the draft just ended. 18, finally had an offensive lineman go off the board. I think they're worthy of a higher pick. I think the lineman will go earlier, but it's tough to tell at this point. Mainly just talking about prospects here, who to look out for. But Jonah Williams of the Seahawks from Alabama made the best tackle in the draft. Cowboys go Amon Richards, wide receiver of Miami. Yeah, the Cowboys got a few wide receivers in the draft that I actually like, but do they have a legit number one for the future? I think Richards can be that guy. He got hurt last year. Year before, he really showed out. This guy's got big playability, big-time playmaker, very athletic too. 20, the Lions get a linebacker and Devin White from LSU. Didn't really get a linebacker that they needed in this draft, so maybe they get one here. Bills go Greg Little, maybe arguably the top tackle versus the Alabama guy there. But this one, Greg Little from Ole Miss, Bills could use somebody like him. Chiefs, 22, didn't get a corner. And, people bashed me when I said there. I think I had them getting a linebacker before a corner in mock drafts. So I didn't think corner was the biggest need, but I thought they would get one. So there's a big gap after the first guy in and Baker, even the second guy. But a sleeper to look out for, no one's talking about, is Julian Love from Notre Dame. I like his play a lot. Just under 6 foot, but pretty physical. Really gets his hand on the ball, can make an interception, can bring it back for 6. I really like Julian Love. No one's talking about him, and I'm kind of confused why. Very good corner. I expect him to take another step up. Really, I think maybe was the best player in the Notre Dame secondary, I should say. 23, the Rams go T.J. Edwards, linebacker from Wisconsin. He could play inside for the Rams. T.J. Edwards, some of us thought he would come out last year. Would have been a top pick possibly. 24, the Panthers go Zach Allen, defensive end, Boston College. Zach Allen, Harold Landry, the opposite guys. I think they're opposite sides of the ball, I should say, starting on that defense. And I think complete opposites, too, different players. Harold Landry, more athletic, more of just a pass rusher, could step back in a 3-4 and will on the Titans. Zach Allen, I expect to be a 4-3 D end, better than Landry in the run game. Can contribute in the pass game as well. A lot of upside for him. Panthers can use, I don't know if they need a pass rusher right now, but in the future they're going to need one. On to the next day, maybe some surprises coming up. Titans go Christian Wilkins, D-line, Clemson. I think the Titans are a team that don't really have a hole anywhere, so I went with Christian Wilkins, best player available here. Falcons go Austin Bryant, back-to-back Clemson guys here. The defensive end from Clemson, they can use a pass rusher maybe next year. Austin Bryant, 4 sacks against Auburn, very impressive, but then kind of disappeared at times, but a lot of upside for him. Maybe a wild card here. The Packers go Rodney Anderson, running back, Oklahoma. I think he has a chance of being the first running back off the board. Seen him improve more and more throughout the season went on. And probably the best pass catcher. As of now, the best pass catcher running back, which teams are looking for that more and more. I think he fits the Packers offense. Now, I know people are going to say Packers have plenty of running backs. I do like their running backs, but you can get better. Don't be afraid to get better here. Do you want to be just good, or do you want to have the potential to be great? They did a good job this year. Had him. So they have 2 picks. This would be the Saints pick because they got him the first rounder. Good job on that. So I had him get a pass rusher, which I think is more important than the first pick. So I know people like their running backs, but they could get better. Here's another wild card. Steelers take Justice Hill, running back from Oklahoma State. Now, maybe not the running back isn't the biggest need for them. Maybe it won't be the pick, but interesting pick. I decided to go here. Brings up a debate. What are they going to do with Le'Veon Bell? But Justice Hill, another guy that no one's talking about. This may be one of my favorite players, one of my favorite sleepers in the draft from Oklahoma State. I really like this guy a lot. Does everything well. He's very fast, knows how to hit the hole. His juke moves, his vision, excellent. Breaks tackles, good stiff arm, can catch the ball to the backfield. He's got it all. Everyone's sleeping on Justice Hill. He's a guy to watch out for. And it's not like in the passing game where the Big 12, the Oklahoma State teams, it's hard to judge if the guys that are involved in the passing game are going to be good at the next level because it's a lot different. Running the ball is running the ball. If he can hit the hole with speed, he's got vision, he's got it. It's pretty easy to tell if a running back is pretty good. And I think Justice Hill has got it. But again, do the Steelers take a running back first? Most likely not. Just thought this was an interesting one. Mainly, the purpose of this is me talking about my favorite prospects in the draft. So it's almost like a big board, kind of. Some guys would be ahead of others. But then the Jags go another sleeper that no one's talking about. Khalil Hodge from linebacker from Buffalo. Khalil Mack, maybe? No, a little different, but he is from Buffalo. Can play inside more. This guy's a machine, a tackling machine. The Jaguars will love him. People are sleeping on him. I'd watch out for him. 30, the Vikings go with Ben Shovel. Hopefully I said that right. Offensive lineman from Wisconsin, more of a guard. That Wisconsin offensive line, we could see multiple guys from the Wisconsin offensive line go in the first round. This guy's more of a guard. The Vikings drafted a tackle kind of high. I got O'Neal in the second, so maybe a guard higher next year. They're pretty high on their younger guys from last year, though, to play the guard position. So, but some of these Wisconsin guys are coming off the board possibly earlier in this. You look at the Clemson D line and then the Wisconsin O line, ridiculous. Then on to the Patriots pick. Jarrett Stidham, quarterback from Auburn. Interesting here. I didn't do any trades, but I expect the Patriots to package some picks and move up. That's why they have so many picks for next year. I think they're going to do it. I think they're going to like Herbert or Locke. I really do. I think Stidham can fit in their offense. In my head, I'm like, do I go Stidham? Do I go Ryan Finley from NC State? People talk about him coming out. I think he would have been a second, maybe third rounder if he came out. Both very similar, I'd say. Similar style quarterbacks. But Stidham just finally got a shot last year. Seemed to improve throughout the year. Maybe struggled in the last game or two. But I think he'll improve a lot more. At times, I didn't like the way he sat in the pocket. A little shaky, a little worried if he's going to get sacked. Against the Clemson game, we talk about Austin Bryant, got him 4 times. So he was a little nervous, a little shaky, twitchy sitting back there. So let's see if he can fix that. But I think the Patriots would like him. But again, I think they end up with a better quarterback. It's really hard to figure out where these quarterbacks come off the board. We'll talk about maybe 1 or 2 more after I get through this year. Eagles take Damian Harris, running back, Alabama. Some view as the number 1 running back in the draft class. Maybe I think the other guys with the pass catching ability may go ahead of him. But I think he's an Eagles type of guy. So I don't know if the Eagles like taking running backs. It's not really their philosophy, taking running backs in the first round, but maybe too good to pass here. We thought about it in mocks in this past draft. But you're probably wondering where a guy like Bryce Love is at. Bryce Love's talent is first round, no doubt. But this is my thought on why he didn't come out this year when we expected him to. And I'm pretty confident on this. So Bryce Love, very good talent, obviously. I'm not knocking him. He's a first-round talent. But we've seen him come out of games with like different injuries here and there. But he's a tough kid. He'd go back in there and play at a high level. But he kept coming out, go back in. And I think that's why he went back. He got in his valuation, and teams that might have scared teams. And they told him, we're a little concerned about your durability. But look at Josh Adams. Same problem. The Notre Dame running back, he is a beast of a running back, but he didn't even get drafted. I think Bryce Love better NFL talent than Josh Adams, so I'm not saying Bryce Love would not have got drafted. He definitely would have got drafted, but teams concerned about his durability, so I think he's going back, and he's going to prove that he can stick it out. He can still play at a high level. He's not beat up, and he can stay in games. Tough kid, and I'm pretty confident that is the reason there, because most people are like, yeah, I got pretty beat up. Let's get to the NFL before I beat myself up more. And then it cost myself. But he's going back to prove them wrong. And I really respect him for that. And I really think that's the reason. Because he really, again, most people thought he probably should have came out. But I respect him for that. Tough kid. He could possibly go in the first round. Very skilled. But again, if it continues to happen, which as of now, the last thing we've seen is it did happen. That's why I have him dropping out. But I respect him a lot. I hope he does well. And I think he will. I think he'll sneak in this first possibly. Other guys, I talk about Ryan Finley, the quarterback from NC State, could sneak in here. Thorson from Northwestern, everybody's high on him, the quarterback. They like his mechanics, his tools, but I'm not high on him. He needs to play better. Kelly Bryant from Clemson, maybe a poor man's Deshaun Watson. He needs to improve his downfield throwing. That downfield throwing was nowhere near as good as Deshaun Watson. He, at times, was afraid to throw downfield, because I think he knew he wasn't too good at it. I think he has a lot of upside. He's very athletic. I like him a lot. Francois from Florida State, I think he has a lot of upside. Reminds me, his mechanics and throwing reminds me of Cam Newton, but nowhere near, well, he's not as good, that's first off, but nowhere near the size and the freakish athleticism of Cam Newton. but he reminds me of the way he throws the ball sometimes, so I do like Francois. Khalil Tate from Arizona is another one. Is he the next Lamar Jackson? He threw pretty poorly in the beginning of the season when he finally came in, but that was his first time playing. Was an excellent runner, similar to Lamar Jackson, but as the season went on, got better as a thrower, got more accurate, very impressive. That bowl game, I know against Purdue, Big Ten defense though, very impressive, very impressive. So I expect him to take a huge step up. Where does somebody take him? There's plenty more guys. A couple of receivers, Paris Campbell from Ohio State. Tillery, Notre Dame defensive lineman. There's so many defensive linemen that they pushed him back. He's pretty damn good. Another Notre Dame guy that I like, high motor guy, Tavon Coney from Notre Dame. He plays inside, plays outside linebacker. See him play on the line. So where's his position? That's why he didn't sneak in this first round here. A couple of Miami boys, the corner Michael Jackson. Yes, that's his name. He plays at a high level. The safety Jaquan Johnson, I believe it is, another guy. One of the guys that kept putting on the chain, turnover chain. So a lot of impressive guys. We'll see where they fall. Obviously, we'll have more 2019 NFL draft coverage as we get closer. But here in the future, we're breaking down the picks, analyzing each pick, who won the draft division by division for the 2018 NFL draft. We're recapping that. So thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Stay tuned for more. We got big plans in the near future. So thanks for everybody's support. You make it possible. Goodbye.